Now let's talk about today's backend work, what I have uh, done today in the backend sections. Basically, I have created the auth routes. Auth routes, what its jobs, its jobs to uh, r- route the upcoming request for the login. Suppose if a user want to log in, first it goes to the server and server require after receiving the request, it will be sent to the auth routes where this auth route will call the login controller. After reaching to login controller will call the login function which is in services. In the services section, token will be created and that token will be returned to the token with the user data will be returned to the end user. So let's see what I have written here. First of all, I import the Express, the framework to design the middleware and the Node.js server. The second one I have, as I have discussed, import the login controller from the controllers folder and the async handler which which is separately handled the async error. Now, in the fifth line, I have created an express router instance which is used to route the post method for the login. Suppose a login route comes with the method post and it match this slash login. After matching this route, it will call the login controller. Login controller, what does the login controller do? Let's see. Login controller will extract the user data from the request rec.body as when you have entered the email and password. That email password will be extracted from your HTTP request. That email password is sent as a parameter to the login function. The login function is imported from the services as I have already discussed it. Now at the end, after calling the login controller, it will export the default router because on exporting the router, we can use it anywhere in our backend server to use this router. Now, after exporting the router, I have used this router in the app.js where the request first received by the server. As if you can see, auth routes imported the auth routes from the routes.js. This auth routes file I have imported in app.js. After importing, I have used this route whenever a new user comes, first it login. The login parts will be handled by the auth routes. It will call first auth routes. That auth route will goes to the route route folders where it called the login controller, and similarly it goes to the services where login function called, and user get logged in. That's how the auth route work. Now, second thing I have done today is that I have created the user route. Why I have created this user route? Because after login, suppose you want to access the profile section in your app services. So first we have to validate whether the request is valid or not, or a request is done by the valid client or not. So I have created to validate the user request first, and then after validating, a user request can get access to the profile section. So for doing this, I have imported the again express and the auth route from the middleware or.js. Yeah, I have imported this because after auth, the server will return some data. That data will contains the token. That token will be used as to verify whether the user is validate user or not, sorry, valid user or not. As and again, I have created one instance of Express router. Now router.get, when user request uh, something to see the profile or something like that, the get method you use to get the data from that, it will take you to the auth sections where first you authorize yourself. After authorizing, it will return some data. That data will be saved. Here is our middleware auth.js. Here I have imported this auth.js part in the user routes Basically, what this auth.js will done, first it will extract the, as I have earlier discussed, the every request will contain the header which contain authorization field which contain the bearer token. From the request, I have taken the auth header. If suppose auth header don't exist, it instantly throw an error. Authentication require bearer token not found. If suppose the format of bearer token is invalid, then it instantly also throw the invalid token format as a error. Now suppose if token exists, that token will be split into array of string, and that on the one index there will be token as a string, and that token will be extracted from the auth header. Now, after extracting the token, that token we used pass as a parameter to verify the token. This verify function is imported from the utility folder from jwt.js file where the JSON Web Token is used to create the token and verify the token. Now, after verifying the token, it will return some data that I have named the payload. That data is recorded as in rec.user. After recording, suppose storing the data in the user, I have called the next. This next function will continue the next route. Now, let's see. As this auth will return some data, as I have discussed in the auth.js file, this will store rec.user will store the payload data that is returned after the verify token function get executed. Now, after completion of this, it will return some data. Rest.json message will be protected route, and this rec.user data will be stored in user. At the end, it will be export default router. As I have already discussed, default router export so that it can be easily used for import. Uh, can we import on another folder? Can be used in another folders. Now, after user.route, I have it is imported in the app.js file. After importing, I have used this route. This is the route for the logging, and this route for the after login for requesting the user to get some data or see the profile sections. It use the user routes. This route will goes to the this user routes.js where first token will be verified whether the user is valid or not. After validation, it will return data returned by the auth section, and that data will be used on every request. That's all about the auth routes and the user routes that I have created uh, today. That's all for the today. Thank you.